All right, so the Witch and the Mercenary is a pretty interesting kind of series. It's nothing too crazy. That I want to get that out of the way. It's nothing too crazy. All right, it's nothing too crazy, but it has some good points. It has some good points. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. So my thing is right. The premise of the at least series like this is usually through a sekai, right? Some loser ass nigga would die, gets transported, gets a hack ability, like whatever, and then he will use that ability to become the greatest of all time. That's usually how it works. And then of course we all know the fantasy isekai kind of thing with like guilds, doing missions, killing the slimes, killing the monsters, going in the forest, collecting the baddies, yada 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 yada. So that's usually like the kind of the setting in these kind of stories. And what stood out to me with Bitch and the Mercenary is that they had that same setting without doing any of the incel shit. So like MC is not no loser weirdo high school boy that got killed. Now he has the ability to yada yada yada, and then now he's going around going to get the health girl, the elf girl slave, the peaceman girl slave. We ain't doing none of that shit, right? So the fact that they were able to kind of keep the setting without having those weird archetypes or those weird tropes, I was just like, I told y'all it was possible. It's like some of the Sakai niggas, they will convince y'all this is the only way to do it, bro. It's the only way. I'm like, how does storytelling work like that? There's no only way to do a story. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, so the male lead, he was on the archetype of being like the mercenary, right? Ooh, the name. So mercenary, I mean that's the tried and true. People usually like, mercenary male leads just cause they strong as hell, yada yada yada. They got pretty interesting like life, like because of how they were raised, they're like the way they see life is pretty like different from like normal people, like normal civilians like us. So it's like it's always interesting to hear them kind of talk. But yeah. So this mercenary was on hunts, or he was paid to go take out this witch, and witch strong as hell. And then they came in. Yeah, the series got witches, but the witches aren't too prevalent. So it was more so low key is more like a plot device to just kind of like glaze the female lead a little bit. But witches really aren't the problem at all. It's low key more politics at this point, which again I like. So so moving forward, the witch ends up slaughtering pretty much everybody on the male lead's team, and when they wanted to kill the male lead, is just he's almost like the guts archetype in terms of like the build and like the mangaka. I mean, it's pretty clear the mangaka kind of likes that like big buff nigga with a strong big sword swing. Yeah, I like it too, bro. So like I'm making it sound like I'm downplaying it, but that's my pocket, bro. I'm in there. So yeah, he has this ability to kind of like almost sense magic through like smell. So even though the witch is technically a stronger character in terms of fighting, the witch isn't actually like too adept. So the mercenary is able to kind of predict certain things that the witch is gonna do, and it's not on some Sharingan shit that like you can't touch me, like dodging everything. No, it's just more like he's able to calculate his risk and reward well enough that like he will turn like a near death, like no, like you're guaranteed to die scenario until like I just lose my weapon or I just get like cuts on my face. I just like you could definitely make this nigga lose HP. It's just to kill them off? Nah, like a man that survived this many life and death battles clearly knows how to survive. So yeah, so the witch ends up thinking that she barely beat him, but no, the mercenary comes in and then about to kill her, but doesn't necessarily. No, he beats her. Like she can't really fight back at this point. Then he kind of questions her, like why she's killing all these people, yada yada yada, and then she just saying, "Hey, I'm just chilling in my crib. They keep pulling up to my territory, wanting to kill me. I'm not gonna stay here and die." So she ends up, and she also tries to play like a pity card too at first. He's like, bro, I'm not gonna pity you, bro. Like, I'm here on the job, yada yada yada. Then, but after he kind of heard her circumstances, and then he just didn't probably just give up. And then she just like, at this point, ain't no one care if I die, bro. Like, I've been alone for how many years? Hundreds of years at this point, bro. And I just lost. Like, just kill me, bro. I'm good. Then he realized they're kind of similar in a way, because as a mercenary, no one cares if he dies either. And then they're just kind of killing to survive, yada yada yada. But this is still not enough for him to be like, you know what? Fuck my job, fuck my my like this accomplishment. I wanna, because I feel sympathetic. I'll let you live because, yeah. Because the reason why like that trope is terrible, I'm gonna actually talk about that a bit later. But this guy definitely killed people that weren't evil before. Like he's a mercenary. He was definitely paid to kill people that weren't directly evil. So if he magically started feeling guilty, I'll be a little pissed. But no, he does let her live though. But it wasn't through like sympathy. It was that like she killed everybody else. So he's the only survivor. So he explained it in the manga. He was just like, if I was to kill you right now, and I go to my employer, because the employer bought him his services to help out his son to campaign against this witch. So because everyone else died, the son died too. So and then the employer was like the lord of the domain. So the male lead described this. I like, if I was to kill you right now, I grab your head, I go to like the employer, I'd be like, hey, your son died, and everyone that was with me also died, but like this head right here, this is the witch. No one can prove it's the witch, but like trust, this is the witch. And like, yeah, even though again I was in the campaign with your son, I lived, they all died, and I this head, yep, this is the witch. So now where's my payment? So he's just like, bro, if I was to say that, I'll be the first nigga to die. Like, there is no way anyone's believing me, bro. So I was thinking about that, just like, damn, that is actually very true. Like, once she killed everyone else, like, there's no reason to actually killing her doesn't actually get you anything at that point. So like, he's basically saying that if the son was still alive, he would kill her and then get his bread. But of course now there's no point. He's like, yeah, like killing you, like I don't work for free. So like, if your life used to be worth funny, but now it's not. He's like, that was not, bro. I don't kill for the tough of the game. I kill for them bands. So it is kind of fucked up. But when he kind of explained it like that, bear in mind, this chapter 1. So I'm just kind of like, damn. I feel like a lot of series gloss over stuff like this, where like another series would definitely, like, he will kill the witch, go back, and then like the king would be like, thanks for avenging my son. Oh, have all this bread. It's like, bro, you you don't doubt this nigga at all. Like, so yeah, so the fact that the series already pointing that thing out, I'm like, huh. It shows that the mangaka is very kind of aware of people's positions. So like, they're not too blinded of like male lead, like the male lead and female lead Halo doesn't blind everybody else too much, because he's looking at like the king's like they accounted for the king's perspective, or like the lord's perspective. Because again, in that scenario, the lord should by no means actually believe the male lead, and the male lead accounted for that, and then just isn't gonna risk that situation. So the female lead surprised, like she's like, dang, yes, he kept me alive. And then I expect after hearing his reasoning, and then she's like, oh, okay, like then how about who to stay with me? He's just like, the fuck, like, huh? And then she realized that like, I forgot exactly what he said. He like turned her down, but then kind of threw in that like, I don't work for free. And y'all not believe this bit pulls out chaos emeralds, bro. Pulled out like a chaos, bro. I was like, I have never seen, like, what kind of currency is this, bro? It was like the craziest gem. I'm like, he's like, yeah, I just got a few of these. I don't even know how much it costs. Golly. But anyway, so she hires him as like the bodyguard, right? And she couldn't really stay in this continent because they all hate hitches. So they decided to move to the next continent. Then that continent over there is pretty much the setting of like the classic isekai, with like guilds, the guild lady, other adventurers, yada yada yada. And yeah, so the fact that again they kept the setting the same with like the way like these other isekais do it, but they made the male lead and female lead very different from what I'm used to. I'm not used to male leads like this in a isekai. I'm not used to female leads like this in a isekai. Um, so the premise of the relationship and how they entered the story was pretty interesting. Again, that still doesn't change the fact that you're still getting the same guild shit though. You're still getting the same go fight the lizard monsters. 10 lizard monsters dead. You get coins, rank up. You know, it's still the same. So if you're not into stuff like that, no matter how smooth they enter the setting, it's still the same shit. So that's why I can't really hold the series to like a super high regard, but I do enjoy it because um after they entered the setting, they started entering more politics and not like the usual like the princess needs help. Male lead, please come help the princess, and she's gonna give you some once you succeed. Like it's none of that weird shit, bro. It's really just like a lot of like it's like a lot of like faction warfare. So it's like there is this one faction that are Shark Elves, and apparently they made them Japanese too. I was like, hey, y'all sure these Dark Elves live in Japan, bro? Like, they're like, my hometown made these weapons, and it was like fuck. I cannot believe I forgot the Japanese blade they always bring up every single time. Katana, there we go. She brings out a katana. I'm just like, your hometown, girl. You live in Japan, girl. What? When did Dark Elves start living in Japan, bro? But you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah. So they immigrated to the current situation, and they at the very least, the entry point of the series allows MC to explain the world to us rather than him being ignorant to the world. That is true too. I'm glad you pointed that out because I know people do like the whole like I get that there's that feeling of adventure, learning about the world through the MC that doesn't know about anything, but it there's a lot of scenarios too that it just gets corny sometimes, where it's like or like they end up leading to very stupid scenarios where it's like if he knew he wouldn't do something like this, and it just gets messy sometimes. But yeah, like you said, he's able to teach about the world, and it's funny too because in this new continent we're also getting that trying to explore the world. Even though he has the basis, but he doesn't know how things work underground, and that's also another reason why I like the male lead because even though the female lead she's doing her thing like above ground, the male lead knows how important it is to know at least how like the biggest game going on, the underworld, yada yada. So he starts finding some info, and then yeah. So like I said, with the Shark Elves, they came in, they took over some territory, and so now it became like different factions. I don't know all the factions, but now they're one of the factions. And but the thing is, they're still immigrants, and the government doesn't necessarily they won't die for them like they would their own citizens. So like if a citizen gets like captured, like the government would make a move to like help them. But if one of these immigrants get captured, they're kind of like, they got it, bro. They got it, bro. So they're still in a so even though they have a lot of territory or they secure like a standing, it's still not truly secure because of discrimination, yada yada yada. And then it's funny too because in the what happens later is that um I think some human trafficking was going on, and because he met an adventurer dark elf, like she was our key or our guide or I guess our point to like interact or get introduced to the dark elf clan, and but she worked for the guild, but she came to him to ask for help when it came to the abductions or like missing children, and then like the million thing about it is like, wait, are y'all being human trafficked? He said, wait, what? And then he was just like, cause you're asking me for help instead of the guild. So clearly, it needs to be like something that the government or like the guild won't help y'all with. or at least your clan with. Like they might help you with because you're one of them. You're an adventurer, but your clan aren't all adventurers. So like it has to be something that like the guild will find hard to help you with, but you still need help. So you come to me because like the Melody's identity isn't like he's not an adventurer or nothing like that. That's another reason why I like it too. Um, so he figured out that they probably got into some shit that like the government doesn't want to help them with, even though they should. So he's just like, okay, he's like the corporates are probably taking advantage of the fact that the government don't really care what happens to them. So then a lot of more like assumptions and deduction led him to believe they're probably being human trafficked, yada yada yada. And yeah, so you kind of see how the politics work, at least the underground politics work when it comes to, or at least the dynamic between them. So even though like these people are strong, they also since they're newer, they might not have a stronger backing, or they might not be able to get help with like the guild or yada yada. And then whereas like this group they do this, that group they do that. So it's actually cool because they have nothing to do with like the normal like oh the princess needs help. Let's go save the princess. Like, you know, they always do the same shit, and the princess get into the harem, and yeah, we're not really doing that here, bro. So I like that even though the setting is very isekai like, the usual isekai archetypes get like they avoid a lot of it. So it definitely feels a bit refreshing. So if you're a fan of like, or if you kind of enjoy the usual isekai archetypes, or at least the setting of it, but you don't really like the loser MC, the slave harem, yeah, you don't really like shit like that, but you don't mind the setting, which in the Mercenary is definitely something you might want to take a look at. And also one thing that does stand out too is the dialogue, which in the Mercenary they do a lot of I'll say life lessons that he's able to break down people's mindsets or mind states and people's like like you learn a lot, honestly, just hearing this nigga talk, bro. You learn a lot, bro. Like oh my goodness, bro. So I really do enjoy that how he kind of interacts with people, and the way he blends into society too, and just the way he thinks about how you should blend into society, the importance of it, what you should care about, what you shouldn't care about, what matters, what doesn't matter. Very like I had to take notes. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, damn, man. Okay, my MC, like, hey, that's big bro. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, which is a Mercenary, I find it has a lot of strengths. Weaknesses, I will say that there's no major arcs. So like, even though the foundation is pretty solid and the plot lines are pretty good, there's no like the scaling isn't big enough for you to feel like, you know, something like crazy is going on. And honestly, stories don't need it, but it never hurts to have something like a major arc. And the thing is, there were opportunities to have a major arc. It's just that the mangaka didn't want to make that situation bigger than it was. So that's fine with me. But I'll say that if, you know, like another isekai might have that huge like invasion, stop the invasion, or we're doing the invasion, or yada yada yada. Whereas this one, the small arcs we get, they just help cement the Melly's character, help build the world around them, yada yada yada. But they don't really, again, have that major arc. And then sometimes people don't really want to read something like that, and that's fair. It is. So, but yeah, strengths, again, the dialogue's phenomenal. The fights are pretty good. I like the fights. The male lead is usually in a disadvantage a lot, but he always comes through. Not on some plot armor shit. It's literally just brains. Like, he's like, all right, this is her stride. All right, this is how she works. Yada yada yada. And also, I like how he takes responsibility for like a lot. Like, he thinks of the bigger picture all the time. Because I know that he ends up gets mistaken for someone doing drugs. Because I think he had like a little ass, it was like some aspirin or some shit, bro. It was some little ass drug. But they think he actually using that like cocaina, bro. It's like, no, my damn, we're not doing all that. So he gets mistaken as one of like the top drug dealers. Then when he finally beats the girl, he realized that she's an adventurer. And he's like, fuck. Because if he kills an adventurer, the guild is not going to let one of the best adventurers just like die. So the guild is going to investigate. If it comes back to him, he can just run away. but he has to work for the female lead, the witch, and she's an adventurer. So he's gonna implicate her if this gets out of hand. So he chooses to keep her alive, even though she was extremely hostile. But he ties her up, no weird shit. Ties her up, and then when the female lead comes in, he's just like, "Hey, can you ignore the aspirin I got, bro? This little ass drug, bro. Like, if I let you live, can you ignore our crimes? Cause I wasn't doing nothing crazy." And then after she realized that she jumped the gun, like he wasn't doing nothing worth actually trying to kill him for. So she was also in the wrong. He was in the wrong. They ended up making peace. She ends up, I think, paying for like his weapons that end up breaking, yada yada. So he turned a very hostile scenario to to a cooperation. I was just like, hey, cool as hell. And then there was another situation where there was someone who also had like a dual blade, because like the MC kind of has a dual blade, and then they think it's him, like they think it's the male lead, because that dual blade dude, he killed 3 of their new rookies. One of them barely escaped, and then the other one was like heavily injured. And then so they think the male lead did it, so they dragged the male lead, and the male lead wasn't too sure, like he didn't want to trust them off rip. But when they brought him upstairs, it was like 12 niggas in that shit, bro. They all wanted to jump for me. Male lead's like, fuck, like y'all were really trying to hold me. They said, hey, we just want answers, head ass. They said, we just want answers, bro. Why do you kill him? He's like, bro, I did not touch them little niggas, bro. I did not touch them, bro. So they were kind of beefing, and they just like, what were you doing when those people died? But the thing is, with the male lead, he was doing that mission with the Dark Elf clan when he was helping them from human trafficking. That's not something you can just tell people, oh, I was with the Dark Elf clan because they're being human trafficked, and yet, like, that's people's business. And he was paid to, do that mission, so he got to keep it confidential. So he's just like, bro, I'm not talking to you. Like, I'm not saying shit. It wasn't me. They said, just tell us where you were. Yeah, they really want to pressure this guy like he's scared of him. He's like, I bet. Like, he had no weapon. They made him leave the weapon downstairs. They charged at him, bro. He using chairs. He using tables. He disarmed this one nigga. Used his weapon, but he's slaughtering. I mean, he didn't really kill all of them. Because he knew that killing them will almost, like, admit that, he's the bad guy. Then the two of their adventurers came, like, the proper adventurers. And he's like, damn, like, they're actually strong. But luckily he had his weapon. I mean, he had a weapon now. And then he wasn't really trying to kill nobody, but he can't fight these 2 proper adventurers without like really going crazy. So he's like, you know what, fuck it. And then so he's going crazy at him, and then basically wins. Then right when he was about to kill one of them, I think she gets saved at like the last second. And then I don't know who came to say it's a misunderstanding or yada yada yada. Then they're just like, yeah. So after he basically handled the 2 top adventurers and all the rookies, and no one died, and then he was like, now do you believe I didn't do it? They're kind of like, huh? And then they thought back, oh yeah, this the culprit killed 3 of their 5 rookies, and one of them was heavily injured, and the last one barely escaped. If they really fought the male lead, he's killing all 5 easily. No one can escape him. He's way too strong. How can someone possibly escape from this nigga? Like, we could escape, and we stronger than the rookies. So they're like, damn, we really got the wrong guy. And then he's like, yeah. So now they had to like find a way to make peace between them. And then like, yeah, so it's stuff like this where it's like, I feel like other series don't really handle this kind of situation like this. And then it's funny too, because him holding it down and not snitching on the Dark Elf and what was going on, he has the current plot line, he's working for this current mafia family, and they only hired him because they also are trying to do this. They're trying to uncover, I think they have like a traitor within their midst, and like they're also doing some like they're doing like drug dealing and stuff like that. She said, we looked into you, and you do not snitch, my nigga. Like, hey, props to you, bro. She said, bro, you were being jumped by how many folk? 10? Still ain't snitch? Oh yeah, we gotta. I'll pay premium for your services. I'm just like, hey, I'm glad things like this come back because people underestimate how important it is to maintain confidentiality when it comes to your customers and clients and stuff like that. So, yeah, again, no real major arcs, but the way the politics are being handled, um, the male lead and female lead duo was great. Um, magic system, I mean, it's just a classic isekai magic system. They explained it fairly well. It's nothing too crazy. Again, any isekai can kind of do something like this. It's nothing too crazy, but I do like how even though like non magicians can still do well against magicians or like yeah. So it's not like Pagic decides who wins. I mean, chapter one already explained that that's not the case. But yeah, Witch in the Mercy is kind of nice. It's kind of nice. Um, Again, may not have no major arcs, may not have any crazy plot lines and stuff like that. But with the good dialogue, male lead just doing his thing, fights are nice, the themes are great, the life lessons you can learn. There's just a lot of just small good points that like oh you just kind of look back and like dang, it seems pretty good. It's pretty good. So yeah, that's about that's about my take on it. Honestly, I can't really, I won't really wreck it. It needs like double the current chapters. I feel like if right now we in the 50s, if we were in like the 90s, hundreds, yeah, at that point the foundation would be so strong that it's just worth reading at that point. But unless you have like a pretty strong interest or like a fairly strong interest in it, you can kind of hold off. But keep an eye on it though. Keep an eye on it. Again, it's not one of those incel isekais where it's like everything's just about getting all these women and yada 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 yada. It's none of that. It's none of that. Or having a super broken power. No one could compete with you. It's none of that stupid shit. So yeah. So I had fun with Witch and the Mercenary. Definitely. I reread it recently too. Um, Fun series for sure. But yeah, that's about it. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe to support the channel. Also check out my Patreon too. Links is in the description down below. Get early access for videos like this one. You'll get access to my Twitch bots as well. Again, links in the description down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch y'all later.